Gang hang, good morning. It is Saturday. And on Saturdays, Joe and I, we turn off our Saturday morning cartoons for a minute so we can rap the listeners. My name is Matt Baum.
I'm the Internet's Joe Patrick.
We have these new stupid little things on Discord that say I'm just chilling. Joe and I are just chilling, whatever that is.
They're little things. Well, what happens when I click one?
I don't know. I can't turn it off. Terminally chilling, I guess.
Matt clicked it.
But here we are. And we're ready to talk about nerd stuff with you guys. I personally would like to lead off with Superman costume. James Gunn showed us a Superman costume.
Okay.
How do we feel? Because, like, I saw a lot of people on Discord were like, I really like it. I think it's neat. Personally, I thought it looked kind of padded. Like, he had, like, knee pads and shoulder pads and stuff. And
no, he doesn't have pads. He doesn't have pads.
Kind of padded.
It does look like a muscled suit, but then I saw a picture of David Corenswet training, and no, it's all
No, I'm
him.
not saying like he doesn't look ripped up. I mean, it looks like there's like an elbow pad and like kind of a knee pad.
It's not. No. It's just thick. It's very thick looking.
Maybe that's it.
It looks like the new. It looks like the new 52 suit. I mean, it's got the collar
Kind of.
and the speed lines.
You know, the only
It does
thing
have
about
it does have a lot of like unnecessary texture and lines, and I don't know what. I'm not sure why that's a thing that we're still hanging on to. But
you know, the one thing I will say that I think is going to help with it, just even break up the monotony of what we've seen in some of the other super suits. At least he has his red trunks.
Yeah,
he's got his trunks. Yes,
he's got trunks.
You know, it's red, yellow, and blue. It's what you want. And I'm trying to find a picture. I just posted. One thing about it is that it's been kind of a. It's kind of a gift that keeps on giving because people are changing what's in the background.
Oh yeah, the
like
meme in the hell out of it. Yeah.
And the one I just posted one this morning that I saw, which is him putting his boots on, and then in the background it's the portal scene from Avengers Endgame. So he's just like late to the game. He's late to the party.
I like the drunk Superman 2 one where it's drunk Christopher Reeves.
Oh yeah,
the drunk Christopher Reeve one is my favorite.
The bar.
Yeah. So I will say that as I don't want to take anything away from anybody that might be listening, but as I think arguably the person the most invested in Superman looking in a classic way, it's close. It's a lot closer than the Cavill suit. It's still too fucking dark. That might just be the picture.
That might be
just
the picture,
the image.
And they may do that on purpose because they're going to finish it digitally or something. My question is, why do we always have to have the weird textured bumpy stuff going on? Like,
yeah, I don't like it. I don't like that.
Is that a thing that they do for reasons, or is it just like this is what
theory?
Go. What do you got, Frank?
I think it's because of the movies. They want to add texture to the costuming so that it has more to look at. You know,
it has a visual punch.
Maybe
that's
right.
It's got more of a visual punch than just like solid colored cloth.
I mean, if we look at the difference between Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man suit and Superman's suit, Christopher Reeve's Superman suit, you know, obviously two different characters, but you can, but that suit has character to it because it's got all of the lines in it and you've got the webbing in it. Christopher Reeve's suit is
it's got the raised webbing and the red stuff's got.
I think Tobey Maguire's
hexagonal pattern
is probably the worst version of it, where it just looked like you don't touch Spider-Man; it'll feel creepy.
Yeah, probably. But that's what I think it is.
I think you're right, Frank. I think you're absolutely right. Speaking to what JD said about the New 52, what makes it the most New 52-esque is that it's got kind of a high collar, which I really don't love. That's maybe my least favorite thing about it.
Yeah, because like Superman doesn't need to protect his neck. You know, like what are we doing here? You know?
And the thing, I think the thing that bugs me about that collar the most visually is that's a military collar. And I've never thought of Superman as a military or a militant character. In fact, antithetical to my thoughts on Superman. So to
100%.
put him in something that looks very, military, just seems to kind of miss the mark.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I think it's fascinating how one picture can be a Rorschach test for every single person on the planet, because I never cared. I mean, I never cared about the collar thing in the New 52. Like, it's a costume. Like, I don't care. I don't get the military thing, JD. That's a you thing, but you see it, right? But it's like we all add a little bit of ourselves into everything, and it's like the amount of the agonizing that must have gone in for James Gunn to release that photo and get it the way he wants it.
I can't imagine.
Lift his leg up a little more, because it's like when people are like trunks, it's like kind of trunks, like probably.
Yeah, they're clearly there, but they're not like blatant.
Yeah,
they weren't. It's not obscured, not on purpose. Like everything in that is very purposeful. And I saw a lot of people saying, like, oh, he looks so bored. He looks so like he's supposed to be smiling. He's supposed to be blah, blah, blah. And for me,
he was probably there all day.
I think he looks like, oh, all right. He's not a human, but he has human characteristics.
Sure.
Human.
He's like, I got stuff to do. Like, all right. He's not worried about it, but it's like, you got to go to work every day. You get your boots on and you go to work. Like,
he's going to punch that, whatever that. Yeah, he's going to punch that whatever that thing in the back, just and go back to whatever he's doing.
He's like he's probably planning on having dinner with Lois and doing all these things. Or
it's the vampire planet from Grant Morrison's Infinite Crisis is coming to like vampire the Earth or whatever it was doing, right?
Mandrake, the vampire monitor. Yeah, right.
So it's just so interesting how all the people adding in their little bits and. But I do, and I'll stop in a second. I do agree with Frank. I have to imagine, after 15 years of this thing, if they could do untextured, they do it.
No, absolutely.
If it worked on camera, if it looked reasonable, they would do it. Like James Gunn is not going to get this wrong. Like, he's going to do it as right as possible because everything is riding on this.
Sure. And go back and look at Adam West in his Batman costume. Like, it looks like he's in pajamas, and
as good as depending on how he physically looked as Adam West, it was like humiliating. Like he was paunchy or bloated. Like, he looked bad. And he looked like, as a human in a costume, he looked bad. So, I have to think that they did lighting tests and screening tests of like literally 100%. How, standing with a shade and holding it up and all right, get a darker shade, get a thicker shade. Like, what is this going to look in the lighting? And you know what? The texture it's visually necessary for even if we don't like it, there's got to be something about the brain where you need it.
Yeah. And
or even the camera, right? Where it's like,
I think both.
The movement of that material on camera just works better in a modern film setting.
Well, in an HD film setting where you're going to see all the detail. And I think you have two choices. You go Marvel sort of military, sort of Avengers, like Captain America wearing something that looks like super military stuff. Hawkeye wearing kind of a military, or if you want to do some type of super suit, it's got to be this sort of textured thing, or you look like Adam West in your pajamas. Even if you're in great shape. Christopher Reeves was in great shape, but you go back and watch Superman, as much as I love it, it would look completely cheeseball if they tried to do that again today.
I mean, what sells it is his sincerity.
Yeah.
Reeves, the Christopher Reeve movie works in that costume because it's played 100% serious.
Because you can look past the pajamas and go, man, he's nailing this. But it does taken out of context.
Everything in that movie looks like a soundstage.
Yeah.
Like everything is him it's so
the vast majority of it was. Yeah.
Right. It's them standing. It's like a stage production, right? He's standing in the center of the thing and the spotlight's on him. And he's his barrel chest is always pointing at the camera, and that it's like, and it works, but like, you can't do that today.
No,
like,
it works in a musical when you're sitting, like if you're sitting and you're watching it on stage. Yeah, you are not going to see the costume design was a little wonky because they're dancing around, they're doing their thing. But like in HD, when we're going to get crazy close-ups of Superman and stuff, they got to do something. I get it. I do hope it is a little brighter, and maybe this is just a darker scene.
I'm just thinking if they wanted to take off the New 52, they could have saved himself a lot of money and done the Grant Morrison Action Comics jeans and work boots Superman.
I'm sure there'll be some tribute to that at some point.
Yeah, Superman beating up landlords.
If you think the closest thing we got to a comics accurate Superman costume in recent years is the Brandon Routh.
He's crocheting.
Superman comic. Superman costume.
I think the Tyler, what's his name on CW.
But even that one takes some liberties with like the design accents.
There's some textures and
true.
Stuff too.
Yeah, I still like that one.
I do too. I do too, JD, for sure. But I think as far as like beat for
Tyler,
beat, like Tyler Hoechlin.
Yeah, Tyler Hoechlin. Yeah.
You know, like element, every distinct element looking almost exactly like it does in the comics. The most recent thing we got was Brandon Routh's Superman Returns costume. And even then, nerds freaked out.
Yeah.
The S was too small.
Because the S is too small.
Yeah,
it's raised up from his chest like it's a piece of plastic.
Yeah.
He's got an S on his belt buckle. What's that about? And they complained about the colors being dark. Our boss complained that the colors were too dark. And look, compared to the comics, he's right. But it's been like everything we've gotten since then has been this weird alien, like fish gills looking Zack Snyder bullshit.
Or like the Jim Lee crustaceans, like made this for me costume.
And now, and this is, oh man, the original suit where it looks like the dummy's got no pants on. That's really something. Frank's posting pictures of all the suits that we've seen on screen over the years, and they work to varying degrees. Like George Reeves, who was basically like other than like Kirk Allen in the 1940s serials, George Reeves was the first man to play Superman on screen like for an extended length of time. His filming costume, the costume that he wore back when everything was still in black and white, was brown.
Yeah.
Because you can't wear a blue and red suit on a black and white on film in black and white. It doesn't work.
Speaking of Kirk Allen, there you go.
There he is.
Oh yeah, thank you.
Now there's a hefty Superman. That dude,
a little tight, man.
That dude looks like that looks like the Siegel and Schuster like. He's just circus strongman.
Yeah, like they're squeezing. He had to squeeze into that. He might pop out. Be careful.
A little bit of pot belly on Superman.
Yeah, right. It's like those aren't trunks. That's a girdle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that. That Kingdom Come outfit from The Flash was so good.
Yeah, that was great.
That was good.
Yeah, it's the only reason to watch that stupid crossover. He was terrific.
I mean, fair.
That was a stupid crossover.
It was so stupid.
It was not great.
It was stupid, man.
Oh, there it is. Brown.
I remember
trunks,
Joe
brown
defending the hell out of it back in the day, and I was like, Joe, this is stupid. They fought in a gravel pit.
If you were all in on the Arrowverse, it was fun. But
to the gravel pit for the big fight.
I just think compared to what we've had the last 10 years, I think that this is a huge step in a positive direction.
Yeah.
So I want to just say like two things about the suit, which I do like it. I really do like it. I think that the MCU really kind of sets the stage for what the super suit should look like. You look at Captain America, that thing looks like a flak jacket.
Yeah.
It looks like armor. You look at the Vision. The Vision looks like he's made up of nanotechnology. He looks
like a robot.
Yeah.
You're right. You look at Thor, and Thor's costume is armor plated.
Yeah.
You look at Iron Man, and it's like they really do exactly what they should do. If you look at those costumes and you go, well, that costume looks like it's real, but then you look at the stuff that the DC EU was doing, and it was like, what the fuck are they doing with this?
Yeah,
why is Batman so armored? He can't even turn his neck.
I totally agree.
Well, they got costume.
It's like a
that
miracle
Flash costume.
They got Wonder Woman right.
That Flash costume.
She's wearing Spartan armor.
But that Flash costume is the worst.
How do you
the worst.
Run that fast in wires?
Everything about it was so bad. Like there's nothing. Like you dressed him like he's wearing a Lamborghini. Like what are we doing?
Right.
It's just terrible. Now, Frank, you hit on something with Captain America though.
Man.
That first Captain America movie, when they first roll him out, what do? They put him in pajamas.
I loved it.
They put him on stage, and he's in these ridiculous PJs. Like Captain America throws his mighty shield. Yeah. And then like they promptly take him out of that and put him in the Captain America military stuff, and you're like, that works. That's it.
Right.
I mean, also to be fair, that was purposefully.
No, I agree,
silly.
But I do think what
they could have made a more serious version of that, and it would have looked better, but not as good as what.
But I think there was a statement being made there. This is a new superhero movie, like this. We're going to make it look a little more realistic. This
Captain
is what
America
we did
is
back in the day.
Not going to go into battle wearing spandex.
Of course,
he's going to go into battle wearing military grade equipment.
Of course,
Captain America's tunic. If you look at the old comics, and I think it was maybe it was John Buscema that drew it.
It's like
but he had scale mail on the top and chain mail on the bottom. That's what that was. That was not a spandex costume. He was wearing
pirate booties.
Yeah, and pirate booties.
Pirate booties were a personal choice.
Yes,
he liked to have. He wanted to have a little flair.
Thanks to Brian Hitch for the movie designs, and the Ultimates.
Right, exactly. Brian Hitch came in with the Ultimates and I don't know, inspired or ruined a decade of movies, depending on your your opinion.
Hey, it was John Cassaday that really doubled down on the like plate armor that Cap wrote. Cap looked like Atlanteans designed that.
Oh, John Cassaday, yeah, like it was. He literally looked like a scaly fish.
Yeah, it was crazy.
I hated that.
I did not love it.
I think the bottom line for this Superman costume is it's one still image. It's fairly dark because he's in an unlit room.
Yeah.
Most of the light comes from the outside. And we need to see it moving. We need to see what it looks like when he's standing there with his hands on his hips or when he's flying through the air. Like I think as a first look, it has me excited.
I agree. Mm-hmm. And I think all of this, we need to grain of salt here. They know what they're doing, and they leak this stuff on purpose to see what reactions will be. That is not to say they're going to change anything.
Oh, yeah. I mean, even calling it a leak, I think, is inaccurate. Like, James Gunn was like, here you go.
No, I mean, you just put it out. Now let's see what the internet says.
It's a teaser, right? It's a teaser.
Yeah.
It's a little obscured by the light and shadow and his physical body, and then it's a conversation starter, and I think
so. They can change it. We've barely seen it. Honestly, they can still do all manner of stuff. This is like a psyop that they run on us when they're making the movie that they've never been able to do before. Where they can be like, well, let's just put a little bit out there and see what people say. And if they all go fart noise, like, okay, well, maybe we retool that a little bit,
Yes,
they've got a year, right? The movie comes out basically a year from now. Probably, I assume in May.
It's July of next summer.
July.
4th of July weekend.
So soon, a little over a year from now, and it's probably too late to make any huge costuming decisions, but. That's what CGI artists.
Yeah, we're all digital now, baby.
Are for.
All digital now. Don't worry about that. They can click one button and he's dick naked. You watch.
All those Rule 34 people are.
What was that?
Okay, so Mark,
the sky in the background. Yeah,
Mark asked. That's another psyop they're running on us. To use Matt Baum's term.
Solaris, the tyrant's son. What are you talking about?
Everyone has convinced themselves that it is an indication, a confirmation. That one of the villains in the movie is Solaris, the Tyrant's son, a character created by Grant Morrison in the pages of DC 1 Million.
Good Lord.
I think that it is a blob of Photoshop colors that they 100%. Needed to make it look like James Gunn, that Superman was getting ready for action.
Yeah.
And I think, and I said this, I think that we are going to spend the entire rest of the year trying to Mephisto this shit.
Oh, yeah.
And it's going to end up being nothing.
Of course.
It's Galactus. What are you talking about?
Yeah, it's Galactus.
This is his first appearance.
Look, and now, Mark, I will, of course, be the first one to say, hey, you guys were right. If it turns out to be something, well, then, hey. But I think that there's no way.
Okay, well,
I don't think there's any way they're going to reveal that shit in a teaser image.
Let's think back to every reveal.
Really look like him.
Yeah,
it also doesn't really look like him.
No. He's an artificial robot son.
You're right.
Who goes bad. So, and that is something that just looks like an energy orb. Like
so the first thing I thought of when I saw that was Brainiac. Because it's purple and green and blue. And I was like, oh, that's Brainiac.
Maybe.
Brainiac adjacent color scheme.
But Gunn has also said, look, Lex Luthor is the bad guy and Superman is the good guy. So there you go.
It's Lex Luthor and the Engineer are the antagonists of this movie.
So it might be the Engineer doing something. Who knows?
I heard somebody also mention Parasite because of the pink.
Like, yes, sure. But you know what? You can probably point to any number of DC villains.
Sure.
Yeah, that's true.
That rock that color scheme. That could just be like Lex Luthor wears a purple and green suit of battle armor. That just could be one of Lex's doomsday machines.
Yeah. But the point being, whenever we get these super, super early views, they always throw us off of something like as far back as I can think. Like when we the Rhino was going to be in Spider-Man, we're like, oh my God, it's going to be like the main character. And he's in it for what? 2 minutes in the beginning, I mean, like,
it's so bad.
Yeah, and it's terrible. but like they've been doing these leaks forever. Yeah. Marvel, famous for leaking stuff in trailers that's not even in the damn movie.
Remember the Hulk running?
Yes. Yeah, to throw us off. So no, I don't buy any of it.
And honestly, no shade on anybody that put that photo together, that image together. But the first one of the other than me thinking, oh, that's kind of like Brainiac-y colors. The first thing that came to mind was this looks like a glamour shot. It looks like Superman went to the mall to get glamour shots taken.
No feather boa.
Yeah, right. Like he's very carefully posed in front of a backdrop.
Well,
and they've put some colors onto it, and it doesn't look bad. It's better than I could do, of course.
Sure.
I never thought for 1 second that it was like anything other than a tease.
It looks like a really good Photoshop job. That's what it looks like.
Right, exactly. It's like, do you want to stand in this life-size replica of a Star Wars action figure packaging and become a Star Wars action figure? It's like, it's a novelty. It's a novelty.
So let's jump over. We've been yelling about this for like 22 minutes. Let's jump to Fantastic Four.
Let's move on.
So we've got John Malkovich in our Fantastic Four movie, which
is an unrevealed character.
I have a theory on who he's going to play.
Hit us.
Willie Lumpkin.
Willie Lumpkin.
He's going to play Stan Lee.
Storm.
Yes.
He's going to play Stan Lee. Yeah, that's good.
Can you hear it?
So, JD, he's going to play Franklin Storm. Dr. Storm.
I think he's going to play Sue and Johnny's dad. Yeah, I think
that's pretty good.
I think they're going to blend the Ultimate and 616 versions of the Fantastic Four. So I think we're going to have more of the think tank idea, and then because I think that works in the MCU oeuvre, but I think, and then that gives background to Johnny and
I could see that.
Johnny and Sue and all of that.
I mean, nothing about the original origin of the Fantastic Four works in a modern context. Like they broke onto a launch pad because they were trying to beat the Russians into space. It's like, okay, well, it's not 1961 anymore. We can't do that. And even in the context of if it's a period,
it's not even the late 80s where a kid can walk onto a plane without a ticket.
Really work in a modern movie.
Yeah,
it's like,
we get Home Alone too.
There's no way. There's no way any four people can launch a rocket on their own without a ground crew and all that shit. Like, we know too much.
Unless they are doing the thing where we start in the 60s. I mean, I don't know.
No, but Matt, even in the 60s,
I'm not saying they go steal a rocket. I'm not saying that. I'm saying
they're not launching a rocket without anybody in mission control.
I agree. I'm not saying that. I'm saying they could retool and do it anyway. I don't disagree with that theory at all. My first thought when I looked at him was like, Puppet Master. He's bald. Alicia's dad. Go. Do it.
Oh, shit. You know what? That's pretty great.
Ooh, that's a good one.
That's not bad, yeah.
And Malkovich is just thinking creepy enough to pull it off.
But I don't know if they're going to recast. Like, is Jeffrey Wright in or?
Because there was another female cast member announced that was also to be announced character-wise, and I'm wondering if that could be Alicia.
Maybe.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of character. Like, we don't know enough about it to get real accurate with our speculating, I don't think. But because like, look, for all we know, he's Shia LaBeouf's dad.
Yeah,
but that's
true.
like 5 minutes of screen time for a guy like John Malkovich. I don't think so.
True.
He can be Mole
And so
Man.
I think he's going to be a more prominent character.
Ooh,
Franklin Storm.
Man.
Franklin Storm is a good theory. I think that's a pretty strong theory. My first thought was, oh no, he's Doctor Doom, but I don't think that's what they're gonna do.
No. He's too old. They're gonna want somebody.
Doctor Doom has to be roughly the same age as Reed.
Yeah,
that's my hope. Yes, and I think that Doctor Doom is going to be probably one of the most important casting decisions ever made in the MCU.
Oh, absolutely. And like Malkovich, look, an incredible actor. No question. But he is like certified weirdo actor. And I don't think of Dr. Doom as a certified weirdo. He's a evil villain, you know. The Puppet Master, maybe. Puppet Master's probably a complete weirdo, right? And Malkovich,
the Mad Thinker. He could be the
Mad Thinker. Perfect. Malkovich could nail that.
I would love the Mad Thinker to be
the Wizard, even, you know, like whatever.
We already have the leader.
The Wings Wizard. Right. The leader, we already know is coming back. Samuel Stern, Tim Blake Nelson is coming back in the new Captain America movie.
World.
Whoa, didn't get that at all, Frank.
What was that, Frank? What?
I was talking through this stupid megaphone thing my kids have.
Oh, okay.
I said, what if they can't? I was trying to do a Bane voice. What if they cast Tom Hardy as Dr. Doom? Like it was a joke.
Oh, I see.
You were the damn Richard. Curse you, Richard.
Yeah.
That's what it will sound like. And then Richards will be like, Reed Richards like, I'll get your Doom. You know.
Yeah, you do a real gruff voice. Yeah.
Swear to me. The MCU is going to take a nosedive.
Okay, well, not only did we get Malkovich,
I think we've got some fun theories, but we also got Galactus casting.
Yeah, Galactus.
I like that voice.
I do too. That guy is great.
I love it. And I also love it because
the guy from the Vavitch.
Yeah, he was the main character in The Witch. He was also in.
He was the dad in The Witch.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's kind of the second character, I guess.
Anya Taylor-Joy is the main character.
Sure,
but yes.
But then he was also in Game of Thrones. He is like he's one of that guy. When he shows up in these period pieces, you go, oh shit, I really like that guy. I can't think of the actor's name, but now that he's here, I feel better. You know, like this might be a good movie.
Yeah. He's a hey, it's that guy. There used to be a whole website devoted to it.
Totally.
Right.
He's got the legs for the purple skirt, so I like that.
Yep. We've seen him in skirts.
Like Mark Shepherds, if you will.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Mark Shepard. Yeah.
The dog in Game of Thrones, right?
No, that's
no, that was a different dude.
No, you're thinking of the Hound, but no, that's a different guy.
Oh,
he was. Who was he in Game of Thrones?
I'm looking it up right now. I can't remember. It wasn't a major part, but he was there.
Did he work for the Greyjoys?
He is Dagmar Cleftjaw.
Dagmar Cleftjaw.
He was Dagmar Cleftjaw. Yeah. No, he worked. I believe he was. No, he wasn't on the wall.
Oh, he was in the Night's Watch, wasn't he?
Yes, he was in the Night's Watch.
Okay.
He was in the British Office.
He was in the British Office.
He was Ricky Gervais's best friend on the British Office.
Yeah, the sleazy guy.
The sleazy guy,
in that new
British
Willow
Todd Packer
series.
Yeah, he was Packer.
Nice.
But yeah, this guy has a tremendous voice. That was perfect casting for the voice of Galactus. I love it. And I wonder if they'll like he'll have to do motion capture for like the face and stuff. I kind of think Galactus.
I'm
is
sure
be all CGI.
You got to do it all CGI. I don't want to see a guy in a Galactus costume. I mean, Galactus. I
do too. I kind of do too, Frank.
I need it. I need it to be
real effects.
Although
baby.
it's going to come off like Tron. Otherwise, like the end with a master control unit like gave Sark all his powers, and then you had giant dude like whoa.
Wait. I got it. Okay, so look. Maybe it should have been John Malkovich playing Galactus, and then you could have like opened up the helmet, and there's John Cusack like inside.
Being John Malkovich.
the room inside Galactus' head is way too short for a human being to stand up in.
Sure,
I love it.
I dig it. I totally.
Very good joke, Frank. Very good. A+.
Oh, we're both wrong. We're all wrong, by the way. Dagmar was working with Theon when he went bad. He came and showed up and was like,
I was gonna say Greyjoys. Yes,
yeah.
He worked for Theon.
Bad news.
Oh, he was like when Theon was like, burn the kids, burn the children. You know that old.
Yeah,
he's bad.
He bad news. But wonderful actor. I think he's perfect for this part.
I'm excited. I'm excited.
Love it.
Yeah, I think that he's going to be really, really well. Really good. How about that X-Men 97, you guys?
It was fantastic.
Holy buckets.
Oh my goodness.
Seriously, to go from OZT to Fatal Attractions in 2 moves?
Right.
Masterful. Pure mastery.
Right. Yeah, I just was like, oh no. Oh, it's happening. It's happening.
Yeah.
And oh god, that whole
spoilers
thing.
for X-Men 97, everybody. Let's just go.
I mean,
into
obviously.
Let's get into it.
So Maggie Neitz yanks out Wolverine's medal. He's had enough.
Mm-hmm.
That's how the episode ends.
I could not believe it. I was just giggling.
I know.
I was like, really?
I kind of couldn't believe it either.
And if we don't open with Dog Wolverine, I'm done. I quit.
Matt, it takes a while for him to be.
I want it.
Immediate.
Maybe in season 2 we'll get a dog.
Look, it took a while to get to Fatal Attractions, but like it didn't matter on this show. They just jump right into it, baby. Let's go.
Quick question for those who watched the original series. I can't remember. Did we ever do Age of Apocalypse in the original series?
No.
Sort of, but not really.
Not really.
Yeah. Sort of, but adjacent.
Kind of, but not really, which is the same answer for all of the storylines they tried to adapt.
But even less than
the closest.
Even less than
the closest they did was when they had Storm and Wolverine when they went back in time, and they had like a Magneto that was fighting against Apocalypse in that era. But it clear. I mean, the costume was definitely from Age of Apocalypse.
Yeah.
That was about it.
You know what? I love that Magneto outfit, by the way, where his like long hair kind of comes out from underneath.
Oh hell yeah! We had the braids. Yeah,
great costume. Fucking
second favorite Magneto costume. Second favorite, purple with the white.
Yeah, we all know your predilection.
Oh, love it.
Pervert.
that was here this season too, Matt. So
I know, and I loved it. I was like,
you know what? I'm kind of sad that that's all we got out of it. We all knew Magneto was going to go back to being Magneto eventually, but
sure.
Yeah,
it burned too bright.
Well, okay, so this is my apprehension of going forward, because I thought that this was a waste of time, but it's been a very good season. I'm happy that it's good because I love the X. It's reinvigorated my love for the X-Men. I love it. I love seeing Jubilee. Like, what a delight. Rogue is amazing. I want it all the time. I'm afraid that they are doing things so quickly that they're blowing past this stuff that we really like, and we're not going to see it again. Like, I want Wolverine in the brown costume.
I don't disagree.
I want.
Don't disagree.
You know what I mean? Like, all these things. I don't want the fan service. Like, oh, we showed you that thing, but forget about it. We're going to go back to the.
We don't want just moments,
right?
Yeah, I don't want it to be like. Do you remember when we did that? It's like, no, I want this to be like a season's worth. Like, I want them to kind of live in it, rather than like give us that, because it was cool, but is the costume gone? Like, they kind of made it unnecessary with what they did to Wolverine. So I'm kind of bummed about that. Like, if he's going to be in some different form in season 2, I'm assuming, he's probably going to be back in the yellow and blue, and that's kind of lame. So I'm hoping that bandana. Like there's so many things.
I don't think we're going to get the bandana as much as
we're going to get the bandana.
As much as it's fun to tease about, I don't know if we'll actually get the do-rag.
Well, nerd bet right now.
I'll take that.
Nerd bet.
I'll take that.
We get the bandana.
I'll take that nerd bet.
I'm calling.
Yeah, Brian.
I mean, maybe season 3 they get to that, but yeah, it took some time. He spends the first, because didn't they try to inject it back into him, and that's what messed him up?
Right.
Yes.
It's 2 years. It takes 2 years. Like Wolverine 75. They're escaping from Asteroid M. Wolverine is dying, and Jean Grey is trying to hold him together, like using her telekinesis to like literally keep his body from falling apart. And that's Wolverine 75. It's not until Wolverine 100 where they try to force adamantium back into his body, and it it's rejected and it causes that secondary mutation. So it does take a long time.
Yeah,
he rolls around with just bone claws for a while.
I want reprints of Wolvie the Bone Claws years. Like, just like, give me a big sexy like hardcover, the Bone Claws years.
You know, it's funny to think that they're just really, there aren't any like huge long stories, you know. It doesn't really lend itself to collected unless it's just like Wolverine, the Larry Hama years, volume 7.
I mean, it was all like Wolverine of the Week story,
I think volume 3 of the Larry Hama just came out, or it was just solicited, and that's like post 55. You know, like post the kind of the X-Men stuff. Like you get to the deeper kind of cut stuff. And
if we get to like volume 4 and 5 of the Larry Hama Wolverine, we'll see that.
Oh, volume 5 is going to be all the ugly stuff with the bad lettering and the.
Trevor, how dare you?
If we do the hot claws,
Trevor in the chat says, will X-Men 97 address Wolverine's hot claws?
I will pull my TV off the wall and just be like, we're done with this.
I will.
No.
Yeah.
I mean,
to be fair, Marvel Comics didn't even address Wolverine's hot claws.
No, not very long.
They ripped the room and immediately backpedaled.
Yeah, they just went away, thankfully. Yeah. But no, I'm pretty sure we're going to see some version of Onslaught. I think we're going to go into better or worse. 90s. I
100% agree with you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, 90s era's X-Men stories at this point.
Because this moment in the last episode is the impetus for what created Onslaught.
Right.
Yep.
For those that don't know the story of Onslaught, he is a psychic energy creature born from a mingling of Professor X's personality and Magneto's personality, created when Professor X reached out with his psychic powers and shut Magneto's brain off. Yep. Because he was so upset about Wolverine. He's like, you can't, too dangerous, and shuts him off.
Took a little Magneto goblin into his brain.
Yeah, there's.
Well, don't forget, he also got the largest shoulder pads we have ever seen.
Joseph.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we're going to see some.
Get Joseph.
I'll bet, honestly,
Joseph is a clone. Everyone thought that Joseph was Magneto without his memories, but Joseph was a clone.
Well, okay. Originally, they were going to do that, and they shifted gears. So there's no reason why in this X-Men 97 they couldn't just do it right and be like, yes, this is Joseph.
Well, sure, yeah,
Magneto.
Right. They could condense or paraphrase.
Absolutely.
Like they do. Now, and we would have.
I think that's short shrifting.
That is an amnesiac.
You're short shrifting Joseph if you do that. I love Joseph.
Younger. Magneto's going to be younger and hotter. I don't believe it.
I know.
It's impossible.
Right?
How could they see Magneto this season, though, man? Like,
how could they?
That's what I mean.
Magneto is already kind of a looker in this.
The internet cannot handle sexier and younger Magneto. They can't handle it.
The number of adults, grown ass adults that were children when this show first came out, that are fucking horny over X-Men 97. And like, look, man, I get it. They know what they're doing. The former showrunner admitted as much. He's like, yeah, we knew exactly what we were doing when we put Gambit in that pink crop top.
Of course.
Oh yeah.
So it's like, yeah, they're feeding that particular beast, my friends.
I mean, look, this is just the opposite horniness. Oh yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to let's talk for a second about the biggest departure I think the series has made so far in this last episode, which is the conflict between Sinister, Nathan, and Jean. I don't ever remember a red diamond on Cable in the comics.
No,
that wasn't really a thing in the comics where he would like put a red diamond on people and take control of them. I don't remember that being a thing.
Until Krakoa.
Until Krakoa,
right?
Until the Age of Sinister.
I'm beginning to wonder, like, if we are speaking of Krakoa, like, might be the answer. I think we're going to see that because this is renewed for 2 more seasons. That I'm almost certain they're going to touch on. They
did it in the comics. They did an animated version of Krakoa in the comics.
Right.
In the X-Men 97 comic?
It was before X-Men 90. It was after X-Men 97 had been announced, but before they did any of the tie-in comics.
Oh, that's when they brought back the time travel situation.
I don't know if it was a time travel situation, but no, they did a God, I can't remember what they called it, but it was.
I think it's just a 92 miniseries.
I think it was.
Right. That's what I remember.
Oh yeah, I mean it would have been called X-Men 92.
Here it is.
But they did Krakoa. They did the Krakoa storyline as if in the way they would have done it in the animated series, but in comics.
It was X-Men 92 was where they did it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So there's already precedent for them to do it.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. We'll definitely see. I think I wouldn't be surprised by anything at this point. If they told me that they were adapting the Draco, I'd be like, yeah, okay. I mean,
do it.
I wouldn't be happy about it, but like I wouldn't be shocked.
Stacy X, you coward. Stacy X. Let's do it.
Yeah, Stacy X. Stacy X. Yeah.
At one point in the original, didn't we?
Adam X, the X-treme. Yeah, I mean, had to be.
Right.
We had to have Adam X in the cartoon.
Yeah,
in the 90s.
Adam X was almost he was another Summers brother, almost, right?
It was theorized. It was rumored that he was the third Summers brother. And they were like, no, just kidding. He's a Shi'ar, whatever.
But then he died in his spaceship on the way back to his home planet. So
right. He died on his way back to his home planet. Right.
But Chris Claremont and Brett Booth did a X-Men Legends arc where they just do it. Yeah. Oh no, it's not. It's I think Fabian Nicieza. They do it, but they Brett Booth attempts to draw the hell out of it.
But that was Chris Claremont, though, wasn't it? That wrote the X-Men Legends. That was his deal.
Was it him? I feel, as I said it, I felt less confident, but it was, I don't know.
You know what, Brian? You're right. I'm not confident either, but I do remember they did that one of those X-Men Legends series, and they were just like, "Yep, fuck it. Adam X is the third."
Fabian Nicieza and Brett Booth. Yeah, it was X-Men Legends number 2. Right, Nicieza and Booth. And yeah, you are not kidding. He tried to draw the hell out of this.
I mean, imagine a story with no soul, and then you're like, here, I need to draw 40-something pages of this. It's like there's nothing to it. So good luck.
Trevor, thank you for mentioning it. I was going to ask this, and I don't think it ever came up in conversation, or I forgot. But in the episode where we go to the Shi'ar homeworld and Professor X is kicking around, they show Vulcan. Right. The Vulcan is there.
They absolutely do. Yeah.
They don't address it. They don't name him. Yeah. He's just, it's like, if you know, you know, kind of thing. And it's like, oh, fuck it.
He's one of the Super Guardians.
Yeah, he's in the Imperial Guard.
Yeah.
And it's just, man. Boy, oh boy.
Man, I just posted a picture of Corsair from that book, and like his right finger appears to be, I don't know, 12 inches long and bent the wrong way. He's like pointing.
I think we talked about that when we reviewed this comic.
What the? That is something.
He's been through a lot.
Yeah.
He's been through a lot.
Sure. His life has been very difficult.
Oh, this was rough. I like Brett Booth, but this is rough, man. Look at this.
You know, I got a soft spot in my heart for him too.
I like Brett Booth, but I don't know who inked him, but man, ooh.
No, inkers don't. Nobody at the inking table is going to be like, this finger's too short, Brett. Don't worry, I got your back.
I don't know.
That's not how it works. That's not how inking works.
Yes, that's rough.
You know, if you cut off that bent spot, it almost looks like it's in the right proportions.
Yeah, it would.
Like it could be a bent. It could be a bent knuckle.
Sure.
It could be if you cut it off at the bend. It could be just like his finger kind of coming out of his fist. Yeah, but no, it's no, that's really wrong. And painful looking.
Yeah. Anatomy doesn't work like that. Clearly,
no, it doesn't. Jesus, the hair on this kid on Adam X. Good Lord.
Oh yeah, it was.
You know, Matt. It didn't come up. It was in Matt's notes though when we did the when we did Midnight Suns Part 1. Matt made a joke in his notes, and we kind of glossed over it, or we didn't have a chance. Ghost Rider's got spikes all around his wrists, on his wrist gauntlets. There are so many spikes that are so long that Ghost Rider could not possibly stand with his arms at his side.
No, he would have to walk around like the Hulk, you know, with his arms.
He would have to go. Yeah, he would have to walk like this. And that's what Adam X's costume is like. It's kind of. There's no. Like Cyclops is hugging him in this screen grab. It's like there's no hugging Adam X. He's covered head to toe in blades.
You will die like immediately.
Yeah, and then your blood will burn.
What was his stupid?
That's right. It was part of his thing.
What was his mutant power? I don't even remember. What was this dude's power?
No, why are we talking about it?
He could. Brian, I'll let you.
Brian,
let's ruin everyone's afternoon so they can
sure.
think about this. He could make the blood boil inside their bodies.
That was his power.
He could ignite.
He could ignite their blood. Whatever
he would
that
have
means.
he would have to oxygenate the blood, which is why he's got the knives.
What?
And so once the blood was oxygenated, he could ignite the oxygen molecules in the blood, and people's blood would burn.
How needlessly complicated and stupid. God, that is.
But yeah,
dumb.
he would flip around. He would flip around like a little annoying weirdo with his tiny little knives.
God.
And give you a bunch of paper cuts.
So he'd long shot
and
you
then
first.
set your blood on fire.
He would long shot you first, and then he'd set your blood on fire.
Yeah, set your blood on fire. Right.
Stupid.
Yep. That's Adam. Now look, I'm gonna say something controversial.
Oh boy.
Yep.
I don't think that is a terrible power on paper. The idea to make somebody's blood boil is pretty cool.
That's kind of stupid.
However, the execution is not cool.
No.
It's not a great. It's not a great power for a hero.
Oh, certainly not.
No.
Right. It's like there was a series that J. Michael Straczynski put out in the
for a Cenobite.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
There was a comic book in the late 90s, early 2000s that J. Michael Straczynski put out from Top Cow called Rising Stars, and it was about a bunch of kids that were born. Or they were. I can't remember if they were toddlers or if they were in utero.
No, they were in utero. They were all born.
A meteor from space came crashing to Earth and irradiated the town that they lived in. And so this small group of children grew up having superpowers, and everybody knew it because it was a huge event. Right, this thing came down from space.
They were the whatever babies.
And so like they were
born.
tracked. They became celebrities. Some of them became superheroes. Some of them were like rock stars. Whatever. One girl who was so bummed because she got what she thought was the lamest of powers.
Well, wait, don't forget before you talk about this, the whole idea was they shared a power pool, and when one died.
Oh, well, I mean that's not really germane to my story.
Well, it is to this character.
There could be only one. Yeah,
she found out how powerful
everybody
she was.
would get stronger.
Yeah, it was very Highlander, and when she got stronger and stronger, she found out, oh shit, my power is amazing. It just.
But that's not the point. Like her story arc is that she got telekinesis,
right?
But extremely weak telekinesis.
She can only move really, really small things. Ball, yeah,
right. Like manipulate a golf ball kind of thing. But then she gets recruited by some shady government organization, and they train her as an assassin because her power works. She can manipulate things with such fine detail that she could like burst embolisms in people's brains.
Yeah, just like
or like close off arteries to the heart,
and just you had a stroke, and it looks like they had a stroke.
Not a hero. Not a hero.
Right.
Not a hero.
Like she was an assassin. She was a government operative. She was an assassin. But it's like that's a cool power. That's a good way to use a power that seems kind of silly.
Right.
But you certainly wouldn't want that person on the X-Men.
No, I think there's a whole section of heroes with gnarly powers. Like you're a good guy, like it'd be like you had like the movie, like I don't know why it's going to my head, but like the Jim Caviezel movie where he saves all the kids, the QAnon movie, and it's like, oh, he's saving the kids, but when he does it, it's like he takes the bad guy and puts their face in a blender. So, like, whoa, are you a good guy?
Holy Frank Castle.
What are we doing? Yeah, like Frank Castle doesn't show up to break dance and save the orphanage.
The Sound of Freedom?
It was a Sound of Freedom.
I'm not gonna bother. But
don't look it up. Your algorithm will be
needlessly violent. Like why? You're a good guy.
Don't you remember in Commando when Schwarzenegger's like, "Hey, sorry, remember I told you I killed your ass?"
Oh yeah. I lied.
Yeah. And he's the hero. He's the hero of the movie, right? But yeah, there's totally there is a whole file on Xavier's laptop that are like, we got to watch these people, and they might not be bad people, but do not approach them with a costume.
Right.
Do not come at them with a superhero costume and a code name. Don't do it.
Yeah, you don't go recruit like kid with death powers that murdered everybody in his town.
Right, yeah.
When he hit puberty.
I mean, like even it's like okay, and so your power, sir, is well, you've got metal claws. That's not part of your power, right? Yeah, no. Your power is to murder things. Okay, well, I guess. But I'm a tracker and I heal real good. Okay, welcome to the team.
Sure.
What about you, Mr. Yoshida from Japan? I light things on fire. But I can also fly. And it's like, okay, well,
yeah,
cool.
yeah. And he can control it well enough where he doesn't burn people. But then later on, we get into Krakoa, and they're like, all right, Omega Red, let's give you a chance. You know, like, yeah, you seem like a...
Yeah. Your power is to...
You have a mutant death power. That is your power. And tentacles to grab people so you can bring them close to use your mutant death power.
Your body expels death spores, right? That cause people to get violently ill.
Yeah.
And then you suck their life force.
Also, you're psychotic. You're completely psychotic. Out of control.
No, that's why he was on X-Force.
Sabretooth level psychotic. And they're like, give him a shot.
He was one of the best. He was one of the best characters in X-Men versus Capcom, though.
Absolutely,
he was. Yeah, sure. I love playing
100%.
Absolutely, and I've got a soft spot for Omega Red. It just we got to a point where it's like Sabretooth, does a couple things.
Stop trying to redeem Omega Red.
And they're like, flush Sabretooth down the toilet. Send him into Krakoa's butt or whatever. And he's got to sit into there, the pit, think about what he did. Omega Red.
I think it's Krakoa's butt.
Omega Red screws up 50 times. And they're like, we need him. We got to have him around.
All right. We've got a couple minutes left. Does anybody want to talk about anything else?
We got the question of the week. We haven't done that for a little bit.
Question of the week.
Taglines.
I have a comics adjacent answer, and I don't know why this is the first one that popped into my head, but
well, first JD, reset it real quick. Reset the question of the week so they know what we're talking about.
I got the question right here. Let me.
JD's got it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Superhero tagline. It's superhero tagline.
Yeah,
right.
Tagline.
So specifically, what is your favorite slogan that you might see on the cover of a book? So not like a battle cry, but like Earth's Mightiest Heroes or The Man Without Fear.
Right.
A slogan that you would put on the cover of a comic.
This one's kind of a battle cry, so it may not count. But first thing that came to mind was Darkwing Duck's "Let's Get Dangerous."
Oh yeah.
Hey, you know what? Whatever. I'll allow it.
That was on the comics. It was right there. Darkwing Duck. Let's get dangerous. It was on the comics. It was right there.
Yeah.
My favorite is the world's greatest comic magazine, which is the tagline of the Fantastic Four comic. It's like that's gutsy. That's gutsy, Stan.
Well, yeah, but all right. That's Stan Lee. That was his job. Come on.
I just think it's a ballsy move.
I always loved Daredevil's The Man Without Fear, but specifically during Inferno. When Daredevil was in the hospital and there was demons taking over New York, they changed it for those 3 issues, and it was by demons driven Daredevil, and I was just like, oh my god, that is so tough.
Oh, that's cool.
That is fucking tough as hell. I didn't know that. That's awesome.
It was awesome. They took The Man Without Fear off, and it said by demons, or Daredevil, by demons driven. I was like, oh man.
Holy moly.
And it was the same logo and everything, and he's all bandaged up, and it's him on the cover holding the billy club like a baseball bat, no ninja shit going on. He walked around New York and beat things to death with his billy club.
He's brawling.
Yeah, it was awesome. God, John Romita Jr.
That whole run of Daredevil is exceptional. It's very good.
Yeah, JR Jr. drawing that.
Nascenti?
Yeah, Ann Nascenti and JR Jr.
John Romita Jr. John Romita Jr. At the peak of his abilities, in my opinion, is man. Before his return to X-Men and everybody started looking real beefy. He was still drawing he drew Daredevil and Spider-Man like they were lithe, kind of athletic.
Yeah, you say beefy, I would say boxy is where he went, where everyone is a rectangle.
Yeah, I mean, if you look and I still like those issues because it's still good. The art is still obviously very well drawn.
I do too.
But if you look at his work on the X-Men circa, issue 300, everybody is gigantic.
Oh yeah.
They're just huge, muscle, beefy dude.
He was just moving into
with
a different,
big square fingers
level of his style. So we were just reading Spirits of Vengeance, Ghost Rider, and we were looking at young Adam Kubert, and it was very similar. You can see Adam Kubert becoming the Adam Kubert we'd get in Wolverine and X-Men that insane Adam Kubert with just like the crazy bent POVs and stuff where you're almost like, what am I looking at? But he's still dialing it back a little bit, trying to do sort of a Jim Lee thing, like fighting his instincts almost.
It's like when John Romita Jr. came on the scene in the 70s, he drew just like John Romita Sr.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like his art was very kind of standard house style superhero.
Yeah.
And then he would develop over time. And I think it's fun to watch. It's fun when we get to see an artist's progression like that. Like some of these guys come onto the scene fully formed or with all their fancy digital tricks, and we don't have the benefit of them, through literal decades of their career, like we did with some of those old guys that are still around and still doing. I think it's.
No, it's awesome. Like, and
Frank, how was the new Doctor Who?
Oh, I saw the first episode. It was a lot. Okay. It was a lot of fun.
I just thought, let's take a minute. I haven't seen it, but
it was delightful.
I watched the first episode. Now, here's the thing that I really enjoyed about it. It was like classic Doctor Who. It was like Doctor Who was always going to be silly. Remember, it's a children's show. But here's what they did. They were dropping little bits of knowledge about the Doctor and history about the Doctor throughout the entire episode.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is great. This is for people who have never seen Doctor Who before, but have Disney Plus and are like, oh, okay. Oh, he's got two hearts. Oh, okay. Oh, he's from, his entire planet's been destroyed and his people are gone. Oh, okay. I'm still kind of struggling with the whole, he fell through a hole in it from another universe a billion years ago kind of a thing. I don't know. There's a weird, I don't know if you caught any of the Doctor Who from.
They're gonna go into it. That's gonna be a thing.
Yeah,
Davies is going into that. But I agree with you, Frank, 100%.
The Christmas special.
It is a first issue. It's an absolute first issue of the new Doctor Who, where it's like, if this is your first, he's gonna explain it, and there's gonna be some brief origin stuff. I was from here. My planet exploded. I'm the last of the Time Lords. Yep. And you are Ruby. You're the new kid. Yeah. That's just like, oh my God, what is all this stuff? And he's explaining it to her. And this is not a spoiler, but the episode's called Space Babies, and it's about a space station that's making babies. And we learn that like the only thing that is important is these babies get made. We do not give a shit what happens to them afterwards. And there's like this very meta message going on here. It's like, just make the babies. Yeah.
And it's like, only there's something in real life that could be allegorical to.
It was great. It was really good.
It was really great. And you know what? Like looking at the babies, first of all, they had babies in it. And you're like, oh, how cute. You're just... The cuteness factor was incredible. The one baby like that was controlling everything was freaking adorable.
Yeah.
Right? But just like, and he's talking, they're talking in English. And that was another thing that was kind of cool. It's like, oh, they speak English. Ruby was like, oh, they speak English. She's like, no, this is the TARDIS's what do you call it? Field, perception field, and it changes it whatever language.
So their baby talk
like, that's really cool.
is translated. He's like,
yeah.
But he also explains like,
Universal Translator knows how to translate.
But he's also like, well, at this point in time, everybody kind of speaks this weird Cantonese, so they're kind of doing a Cantonese baby talk thing.
It was great. I loved it. I can't wait to watch the next one.
Well,
I am brand new to Doctor Who.
Hold on, Joe. Hold on. Mark, what was that?
Yeah. I've never seen an episode of Doctor Who before in my entire life. And my son wanted to watch it last night. And the three of us, the whole family sat down and watched it. And we had a blast.
It was great.
And I think it was an excellent jumping on point. And I am certain my family will continue to make a night, each week or whatever of watching that show.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah. And this new Doctor Who is so
Mark,
joyful.
I think that, Mark, I think that if you guys liked that first episode, you would enjoy going back and revisiting that came out, and they're all on Disney Plus.
Joe, you're breaking up a little bit.
Yeah, my laptop's about to die. Sorry. I think that you should check out the specials that came out before the new season.
I'm sure
they're
we'll
fantastic.
Do it.
And it's like Shutigatwa's debut as the Doctor and Ruby's introduction. There's one is a Goblin Pirate musical episode, and it is a
It's very silly.
It's very silly.
But I think now that Doctor Who is on Disney Plus, the marketing machine is behind it in a big way, and I think there are going to be a lot more eyes on Doctor Who than there have been, even since the reboot with the highly regarded reboot stuff from 2007 and 4. Like Shutigatwa was on Seth Meyers.
Yeah, no, I mean,
which I don't think I've ever seen a Doctor Who on late night television.
You brought up the musical episode. I think Shutigatwa, the one thing he's bringing to this, like even this episode, it felt like he could burst into song at any moment. Like he was this purely joyful character. The music is swelling the entire time. It felt like a space fairy tale. It was just joyful. It was great.
His energy level is amazing.
It's insane.
It's infectious.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm watching it, and I said, it's so great to see him. He's in another show called Sex Education, and he's a totally different character. But it's so great to see him, like, just acting, and his energy level is so high that you're just like, oh my God, what's he gonna do next? And it's like you get this real cool energy off of him. He's almost got like the Tom Baker mania from back in the 70s.
He's a crazy person.
He does have kind of a controlled mania to him.
Yes.
And like this next episode, they're going back to the 60s to do kind of a Beatles thing, and they're doing something that they didn't do with a lot of the other doctors.
Him in the afro on the left.
Yeah. Whereas like the other doctors would travel time, but they just looked like the Doctor doing their thing. And like this one, you can tell this guy, he is so good looking that he's a dress up doll, and we cannot wait to put him in every stupid costume we could possibly. And he's like, bring it on. Like, let's go.
What about this is the first Doctor with a mustache, Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true.
And it's like, and it works. And it works.
Yeah. Trevor also reminds
Joe, we're losing you really bad.
It doesn't was one of the Kens in the Bar movie, so Doctor is.
He was one of the Kens, is what Joe is saying. Yeah,
I'm probably gonna bounce, but.
All right, let's call it. It's 12 o'clock. We got to get out of here. We're losing Joe.
The Doctor is Knuff.
Good to talk to everybody. Good gang hang. Good times. We'll be back next Saturday. This week, new comics are back. Tune in for that. Thanks a lot for hanging with us. We'll see if we can get Joe to do a sign off. But for now, it's Matt Baum.
Bye, guys.
Bye. And peace.
Yeah, Joe's out.